Hi, I'm Nicholas Patch, and I'm in the 11th grade.
Hey, my name is Kay Humans, and I'm in 11th grade.
My name is Kareem Felder, and I'm in 11th grade.
I'm Grace Barster Christopher, and I'm in 11th grade.
What do you know about Stop-and-frisk?
Stop-and-frisk, I believe, was a policy implemented by Mayor Bloomberg, or I may be wrong about this, but it was implemented sometime fairly recently, within the past years, and it gave officers of New York City the power to give a little stop and frisk, pat someone down if they believe if they have some sort of probable cause for it, or if they believe that just to my knowledge, may not be right now.
Do you know what stop and frisk is?
Yes, I know what stop-and-frisk is.
What is it?
It's when a cop thinks he has a probable cause to search his perk or victim.
Okay.
I know that it's I guess a system that the NYPD put in place to, I guess, stop holding certain things. I'm not really too sure.
I know that it is a policy that we have in New York where police officers can stop people if they have reasonable suspicion. That's kind of the extent that I know, and I know that a lot of people are very angry about it because they feel that it disproportionately affects minorities.
What are your feelings towards law enforcement, and specifically the NYPD?
There's a lot of fakeness. Some people are real and tries to protect their community or whatever, but most of them are fake.
What does that mean?
Basically they're doing a job so they get paid for it, but they're not they're targeting the wrong people.
I've never been directly affected by what they do. I've never really gotten into an altercation with them, but I know a lot of people who have, so by extension, I'm sort of mad at them.
Never had any real bad experiences with the NYPD. At most, it's only been because I've broken a minor law, like I've skipped the subway, hopped the subway thing or something like that. But I have no grudge against them. I personally think that they do good work. They risk their lives every day, though I do know that there's been some controversy of a lot of officers, bad officers, since there are some bad officers out there that are corrupt and just plain racist officers. People in general.
I think that law enforcement is needed, especially in a city like New York's, but I also feel that because New York City has so much diversity, that there is no room for being so biased against certain races.
Can you act suspicious for me?
Say again? Act suspicious?
Act suspicious. Can you act suspicious? Like, don't say what it is, like, act suspicious. Can you act suspicious? Can you act suspicious for me? Like, act what suspicious looks like?
Suspicious to me or to
you?
Oh, to me, I think suspicious looks. I feel like it's in action. To me, suspicious is if I'm on the train and somebody's like looking around really like fast and like they don't look very sure or like they don't look calm.
And like maybe trying to like hide something.
Okay. So you've already been over this, but you know what reasonable suspicion is, right? All right, wonderful. You know what reasonable suspicion is. Okay. Do you know what reasonable suspicion is?
Reasonable suspicion. Okay. Well, reasonable is obviously with a reason, I'm guessing. And I'm guessing that it's kind of like when the police have those tables out and they like do the random search in certain places of the bags. I'm kind of assuming that that's like they have reason to search you because you have a big bag getting on the train.
Do you know what reasonable suspicion is?
Yes, reasonable suspicion, again, I believe is when they're based on the facts of a crime, an officer has enough evidence to warrant some sort of search on his behalf.
Reasonable suspicion is when the police suspect, based on something, based on your actions, that you may have committed a crime. I'm going to read off some of these reasonable suspicions and just like I want to know what you think about them. Being present in a high crime area, looking for something, your emotional state, and the physical size of the possible suspect. What do you think about that? Do you think those could be reasonable, that they're committing a crime?
No, not really, no.
Okay.
I feel like that's not reasonable suspicion.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that that's like a reason for reasonable suspicion because it's just like you're just there. Like it's not like they put all the criminals in this one area and you're there because therefore you're a criminal, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
And I think that the size of the person doesn't really matter.
What are your thoughts on stop-and-frisk personally?
I hate it, but I understand the purpose of it. Like I've been stopped and frisked so many times, but like it was like annoying. Like I've been stopped and frisked and then back talk to the cop, and then I'm sitting on the floor with handcuffs, and I haven't done nothing.
Your personal thoughts on stop-and-frisk?
I think that it had a potential at one point to be good. I think that it started out as something that was just supposed to make everything a little bit safer,
Mhm.
but I just think that the way that it was implemented and the mindset of people nowadays just made it way too wrong.
I myself, personally, I've never been stopped and frisked before. I do know and feel that it's mainly targeted to, I wouldn't say targeted, but it's mostly conducted on minorities.
Do you think minorities are disproportionately targeted by the police?
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, of course.
What if I told you that 85% of stops and frisks were of blacks and Latinos, and that 9 times out of 10 those people are completely innocent? Why do you think the police would keep using stop and frisk if it doesn't seem to be curbing crime?
I agree with that statistic because that seems a bit too, I don't know, just a leap into thin air. So
It's from the New York Police Department's own database of how stops and frisks.
well, that's just shocking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think that just people in general like to do what's comfortable.
mhm.
And I think that, this is a system that while it isn't working, it's there. And I think that it's comfortable at this point, and it allows people to stop people, and the numbers go up in terms of the amount of stops you make, and that's good. I think there's a whole thing about like quota systems and stuff.
Mhm.
And so people just don't want to change it because it's what they know.
Because it's all about, I'm guessing, there has to be something. I'm pretty sure that there has to be something like within the police department that kind of like, this person made this many arrests, or they found this and they found that.
It's a good question. I should ask them that question.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's the fact they trying to lock black and Spanish people up, and they feel like most of them do crimes, but why only 9 and 10 are innocent?
So do you think that there's an underlying problem in law enforcement regarding race?
Hell yeah.
Definitely.
I think the target is black and Spanish people. Minorities, that's their target.
Do you think that there is an underlying problem with law enforcement regarding race?
Yes.
Do you think there is an underlying problem in law enforcement regarding race?
Yes, I definitely think that, and it's not just, police officers or law enforcement either. I think that there's just this underlying feeling in society of, suspicion towards minorities.
It's obvious.
Yeah, definitely.
Very obvious that the white community can do certain things and not have the fear that they're going to be searched for walking down the street, or have the fear of being searched for standing on the corner talking to their friends. Because to law enforcement, and not even just white law enforcement, it can be prejudice within the black and Latino cops as well. Like just assuming that these particular minorities are doing something wrong.
Now that we've discussed all of this, what do we do to stop this from happening? How do we break down race barriers, and how do
You
we...
just gotta wait for all the politicians to die.
Do you know what we can do to, do you have any ideas of how to break down race barriers and how to fix or begin to fix these issues regarding race and law enforcement?
Well, it's not going to be easy. That's for sure. And I mean, I know that in my personal life, just communication has helped a lot. You know, exposing people to different kinds of people, especially at younger ages, and just teaching them that we aren't really that different, is the best way that like I've learned in between just two people. In terms of an entire country or an entire world, that's, you know, a lot different. But I think that on a personal level, just introducing people.
That we just start when little kids are young and teach them that skin color skin color doesn't justify what's right or what's wrong. It's the action in general that justifies it. So I'm thinking that we can just start young.
Me, you, our sons and daughters,
Yeah.
they have to be the one that changed it.
So it's the next generation.